guys, it's your girl Nita.
And it's me, Danny.
And you're now listening to A Shot of Noire. So Danny, tell me how you've been, what's been going on and all that great stuff.
Everything's been good. I went to a wedding this weekend in Myrtle Beach and it was raining.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's good luck, so that's
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, that's what they said on that girl's wedding that we watched. That it's good luck with it.
Yeah, but I was talking to somebody yesterday and they said that if it thunders and no rain, then it's bad luck. But if it rains, then it's okay.
Okay.
And it literally rained on the wedding, so.
Oh yeah, because it was an outside wedding, right?
Mm-hmm. It was very pretty.
My sister had an outside wedding.
Yeah, it made me rethink whenever I do get married that I might not want outdoor anymore.
I mean, because of the, that would make me nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to end up buying like shoes just to walk into the reception hall. And I was just like, sis, can we not wear the same foot jewelry that we had?
Oh, you
before?
had separate ones?
Well, you have foot jewelry because you're on the beach. And then to walk inside the reception hall, she wanted us to have on some little shoes. But I literally wore the shoes for 2 minutes because she, in our bachelorette package, she gave us those little rolly sandals.
Mm-hmm.
Just put those in.
Yeah, she bought her bridesmaids their sandals for the wedding too. I never thought. I forgot that you gotta like buy them stuff too.
Yeah.
Pay for everything.
Oh yeah, you gotta gift these people for all that money they spend on your dress, getting their hair done, and shit like that.
I don't know. I'm not about to have a wedding party. It's like nah. And what else? I can't remember. I be getting jumbled with what I talk about and how long ago it was. So there's no more Big Baby. Did I say that on here?
No, literally that happened after we stopped recording.
Yeah, fuck that nigga. And what else? I went on dates.
That's
this
good.
past week. Yeah, I met somebody at Fred's Box, and I went on a couple dates with him. And this past Friday night, I had a party at Stats, and afterwards, Miami was driving me to my car because I had to park kind of far away, and we passed by this dude. He was laid out, like, face down on the ground. And I recognized his shirt because I remember when I saw him and I was like, he got that, what's that? I forgot the rapper's name. But anyway, it looked like something Migos would wear.
Okay.
And it was a white dude, though.
Aww.
And so he was laid out face down and I was like, he was with some people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked up and I was like, is he okay? And he was like, you know him?
Oh, no.
And I said, not directly. And I was like, oh, because if you know him, we was about to go. Because the dude was like, I feel like I already did too much. Basically, the guy was so drunk, he was driving, and he almost hit them.
Oh, God.
So they made him stop, and they made him get out of the car, and then they moved his car out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I drove this dude's car, and I don't know if he was down there breathing. He was like, so I'm ready to go. And I was like, nah, we in this together now.
Oh, no, hell no.
Not me.
Shit.
So, then the parking security drove by and we stopped and was like, we don't know what to do with this person. And so he was like, okay, I'll call 911. But the thing is, the two dudes actually kind of look good.
Oh,
So,
God.
I was like, he looked kind of cute.
The dude that was laid out?
No, the dude that was
okay.
helping.
Right.
He was like, are you serious right now? And I was like, I mean, I just felt like I should, might as well just go
Might as
ahead
well
and
shoot my shot now.
let it known. I mean, the ambulance is coming. And he was like, all right, let's talk over here.
I'll be damned.
To the side.
Man out here dying, y'all. He's trying to make a love connection.
And I had got his number. And he wanted to meet up. Yeah, but I had to cancel. I didn't meet up with him. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I went on a trip. I went to see my family. My nephew graduated on Thursday. My sister was threatening to kill him on Thursday, but he's still alive and he made it. He graduated and life is still good. And it's always great to see them. It's just like, oh my God, I don't get to see y'all but like one time a year. And my grand made coconut bread, and I almost had to fight my daddy for a slice. Like, if you've ever had coconut bread, you know, like fresh coconut bread.
Is that the same thing as coca bread that they sell like in Caribbean restaurants?
I've never had it any place other than from my grand.
Oh.
That's it. I mean, yeah, I've never had it from anybody else, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, she makes it, and it's like, and when he got to the house, it was still warm. And he was like, I only get it. You know, I had to fight to get this and this. I was like, Daddy, please stop acting like this. Like, she's literally going to spend, I think, a month with him. So I'm like, you'll get it later. And she made fish cakes, and I didn't get to have one of those.
What's fish cakes?
So it's like, so from what I've seen, it's almost like little hush puppies, but it's like fish in it, but it's not, hers aren't as breaded as hush puppies. It's like a lot of fish in it, and she just puts it in the batter, and she tosses it in the grease, and it's like the best thing ever. Me and my sister eat it with some ketchup, and it's so good. It's so good.
Craving seafood.
Because you're not allergic, that's why.
I
So that was really good. And then I've recently realized that summer is bringing all the boys to the yard. All the guys are coming out. They all miss you, and they are just trying to live their best summer life with somebody, okay? And I just don't have time. I realize I don't have time. I feel like if you messed up in the past, that doesn't have anything to do with me. And I just need you to stay the hell away from me. And I think the last thing that has been going on was when I came to Press Box the other Tuesday, they had all my girls out, and never in my life do I feel like I have been looked at, like I felt like somebody looked through me. Like one dude walked past me and he looked at my chest, and he did not stop looking at my chest until he was like completely out of eye shot. And I was just like, my nigga, hello, hey, like I didn't know this man, and he just was like,
That's what they do.
and then it was just like this other one before, like I had to ask old buddy to walk me to my car because I was like, they are acting really weird tonight. Like when I got up to walk to the car, the one dude was on the other side of the glass, and he was just like staring at me. And so I stared back.
It was some weirdos out there.
But you know when you stare at people, they typically just like look off into the bit. No, he was just like bitch, I'm about to stare back at you too. I was like, oh my God. No, I'm good. I felt like the girls had been out several times that I've never seen.
Nah, they were out in a different way.
They were out, and I was just like, it's laundry day, you know, like I just wanted to have a good time. But that right there, it was almost like it was uncomfortable. Like I had never been dressed and felt uncomfortable by the way people were looking at me. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt when I left the house, I was like, okay, girl, you're a little cute. You got your like head on. The girls are out, they're nicely oiled because I just bought some new coconut oil. And then I got there and it was just like, ugh, like who you? Nobody. Regular degular. And I still needed a perm and everything. So I'm like, why? Just leave me alone, please.
No, that was cute.
It was put together nice. It was put together really nice, but I just was like, I can't do this no more. Like I just felt so uncomfortable. Like
and you know like how people say, like you dress a certain way, then that means like if you get disrespected, it's like you want it or
right.
But it's very uncomfortable. I can't remember who I was talking about that, but I was saying whenever I do get married, I don't want like a dress with a lot of cleavage because I just don't want it to like take away from. Even though I have cleavage every other time, but on my wedding day,
right.
I don't want to have
to take off.
No.
Yeah, like I was told he was like some things you wear. Sometimes you gotta go out with like your dude, or you gotta go out with somebody so that people, you know, that I guess so you can feel protected and still feel comfortable. You know, like how I said I felt comfortable when I left the house, and I got there I felt completely uncomfortable. But I was like, those niggas didn't care because they was still looking at me sit beside the dude, and they didn't know that wasn't my nigga.
Yeah.
Like the one who was just staring at me, he was in a group, he knew I looked familiar, because that's why I said something to him. I was like, what? Like, you just staring at me, what do you want? You look familiar. Well, open your mouth, little baby. Like, this is what's wrong. This why you single. Because you don't know how to talk.
I hate that.
It was so weird. But yeah, that's it for my catch up, I guess. Let me see. In the news, Do you not want to start with that one? I feel
Yeah.
like we could start with
Well,
that
we
one
can,
because
because
it
it's
gets
like-
better.
I mean, it's about Central Part 5, but I still haven't watched it.
To me, like, I had to watch it because I know I'm not gonna prolong it, and because people kept talking about it, and I kept reading the news stories, and it's amazing how it happened. You know, they got out and completely exonerated and got their money and all that other stuff while we're we're adults when all of that happened, but at the same time, it's like all this happened while we were younger, and it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, all this time had went by. None of the prosecutors or anybody else that was involved were charged with what they did. And just to see, my biggest take back from it was Corey Wise, the guy who, like, the whole episode 4 is basically about him because he's the one who stayed in jail the longest. The only reason he went with the police that day was because he didn't want his homeboy to get in trouble because he knew that his mama was going to be looking for him. And he was the only one that was of age that could be questioned by himself. And he's the one who took the cop out. Who admitted to it. But when I read the story, while I was watching it, it said that he had like mental health issues and he was hearing impaired. So I'm like, so he had mental health issues. Well, I know it said he was delayed. And so you put this person in jail, like prison with adults at the age of 16. This is too much. I mean, you see what happened to, like, in the Khalif Brawler story, and how he was in solitary confinement, and how it just literally fucked his mind. I mean, and to see, like, that whole thing play out in episode 4 of how he was in solitary confinement for so long, but it was more so for his protection because he was literally getting beat up all the time. So it was either get beat up or stay in solitary confinement. I was like, this is too much.
I can't watch stuff like
But
that.
I think it's important. I think it's important for Black people. I think it's important. Hell, I think it's important for white people. I think it's important, especially for young Black men to watch. Just because you need to know that, yeah, these, you know, you see it on the news. You hear your mom, your dad talk about it. But at the end of
I'm from Charlotte originally, born and raised here. So much I could tell you about myself. It's hard to choose what to say. But grew up in Charlotte. I have six siblings. My parents are here. All of us live here except my little sister who's in Houston, Texas. She's a real estate agent. Then she's actually pregnant with her first child.
Mm-hmm.
So she's due July 4th. So we'll see.
Soon.
The baby comes on time. But yeah, I played college basketball, played high school basketball too, middle school, all types of basketball. I played overseas as well.
Okay.
So basketball was my life before my adult life. I also coached for 2 years at Rocky River High School. I was the head varsity girls basketball coach over there.
Mm-hmm.
So since I've been back from overseas, I've worked in education and in behavioral health quite a bit.
Ooh.
Well, that is what I've been doing since I've been back from overseas. And then I got into doing events. I also run my mom's club, Crystal on the Plaza, the reggae club on the Plaza. So she's kind of handed that over to me as well. So I've come a long way. I've done a lot. I actually went to college, like you guys. I actually went to 2 colleges. I went to the University of Miami in Miami, Florida, on a full scholarship for basketball. So I don't have any college debt. I hate to say it.
Damn, right. Meanwhile.
Yeah, I don't have any college debt. I was there for 2 years, and then I transferred to UNC Charlotte, and on a full scholarship as well. I finished out there. They actually paid for my master's degree as well. So, yeah, and then that's when after that I went overseas. So. I liked college. College was actually easier for me than high school was. I went to Providence Day School, which is a pretty prominent private school here in Charlotte, and it was tough, and it actually cost more than some colleges to go there. So I had a really tough high school experience, and I ended up doing well. So it made college a lot easier. But yeah, that's majority of kind of where I'm coming from and what I've done.
Why before we play this game? Why did you come back from Miami?
So I went down there again for basketball. When I got there, everything was cool. I mean, but I just didn't enjoy the basketball program. Partially because of the teammates that I had, partially because of the coach that I had. And I don't like to blame it all on other people, you know, but the experience just wasn't what I was looking for.
Okay.
And then I ended up with an injury. I fractured my tibia, which is the bone in the front of your leg. So of course your leg is made up of a tibia and I think it's fibula or fibula. I think it's fibula, but anyway, I fractured it and I had to sit out for a while, and then I got kind of rushed back and it made it worse. So I was like, my bone could have separated completely. And I didn't feel like they handled my injury properly. I think that it was handled pretty selfishly because they wanted me to play and I wanted to heal. And even in speaking out saying that, you know, I'm still hurting, they were like, just listen to the doctor. I'm like, but I know my body, you know. So I didn't like that. And then the living conditions, I was living in a dorm room that was pretty run down, and no one seemed to care. There were some comments made about why were we complaining because we don't come from much better than that. And it wasn't said about me, but it was said about one of my teammates that we actually roomed with. So it just was some moral and ethical things going on in Miami. I just couldn't get with it, and I just wasn't happy. Actually, my entire class that came in with me for basketball, so it was 4 of us, 4 freshmen. It was actually the first recruiting class that the coach had there. We all transferred our sophomore year. All 4 of us left. Yeah, every single one of us left. So it just wasn't a good experience. And they left for lack of playing time. I started as a freshman and had a great, basketball playing time there. But I'm big on like I said, morals and ethics, and I'm not gonna stand by and just watch things that I don't agree with and that I don't stand for. And so I was also far from home, and I've always kind of been big on being near my family. So I actually didn't plan on coming back to Charlotte to play. It just worked out that way. And that was actually back during the time of the recession. So we were running out of gas and stuff. Flights from here, a one-way flight from Miami to Charlotte was $600 one time. My mom had to pay. Yeah, so it was just a lot going on in general. But a lot of people say, "Why did you leave Miami to come back to Charlotte?" And they're like, I would stay down there. And I'm like, yeah, but I can always go visit. But I couldn't even get with the program. But I love the school. The school is the bomb. It's a private school. At the time, I think it was like $45,000 a year to go there. It's a private school, but it's beautiful down there. But I was there for basketball and education, but basketball for sure. And I just wasn't happy. But I ended up at UNC Charlotte, and I had a great experience there. My coach there was awesome, and my teammates were awesome. So it worked out. I don't regret transferring though. Sometimes I feel like, dang, I don't have a relationship with my college coaches really because I left one. And then when I got to UNC Charlotte, the coach that recruited me to come there left, and she's the head coach at Texas now. So I actually had 3 head college coaches throughout college, and that's rare. So, I kind of feel deprived. Like I don't really have a concrete home to go back to as far as being a huge alumni. But it is what it is. I still had a good experience. I don't have any college debt. I'm massive.
Right, that's what I say. That's the only one I needed right now.
I could have been close to that situation, but I had lost on scholarships and
Don't even tell the people how.
So that's a blessing to not have any college debt.
Right.
oh my God.
Too much fucking.
Anyway, I was a late bloomer.
So we want to play this game, and we're gonna get a good name for this game.
Yeah.
Cause I couldn't.
I like the nosy business, but then I was like business. I didn't like that part.
Well, I was gonna say business, but then I was just bouncing names off the wall, and you didn't say anything.
I thought I responded.
You didn't. So,
I responded to shit in my head.
You see what I deal with people? Anyways, also, dear YouTube, I did not press the play button until just now. So that's why
Oh, so all that
I
talking
really-
y'all were doing at the beginning, you
It's not on
recording
there.
Oh,
No.
Just YouTube though.
Just on
That's right.
YouTube. It's
Just
I
on YouTube.
literally saw it when I got up the last time, and I don't know what the fuck happened. But anywho, so I hope I pressed play this time. I pressed the like, so maybe it's on. I don't know. But the game, Nosy Business, 4 W's in a H. We're gonna figure it out. So what it is we're gonna ask you who, what, when. You figure out a where to. I only wrote down who will win on mine, so you got all the rest of the questions. And then you can give us some answers so we can get to know you more, okay?
Okie dokie.
So, who is your celebrity crush?
Oh, if I had to choose, like, one person that I've always said is gorgeous to me, and I recognize this off one movie I kind of fell in love, but Nia Long.
That's the only person, like my dad, well, at least he says, like, my dad is pretty much, he feels like his girls are pretty and his wife is pretty. And everybody else, he just doesn't think it's pretty. But Nia Long is like my dad's soft spot.
Yes.
She's
Nia Long is the
gorgeous.
bomb.com to me. I love, I recognize that I liked her in Best Man Holiday?
Oh, that's the last one. No.
Is it called Best
No.
Man Holiday? It's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most recent. It's
Yeah.
two Best Mans, right?
Right.
Yeah, Best Man Holiday, I think it's called. But yeah, her name was Jordan in the movie, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
But in that movie, I thought she did well in the movie, but I thought they really made her look, beautiful in that movie. But I've always been a big fan of Nia Long.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love Nia Long.
Yeah, she's so pretty.
Mhm.
Are we answering them too?
I mean, if you no, we don't got time to play with you today.
Because I'm like, I have my celebrity crush, but that's about it. What is the wildest thing you've ever done?
The wildest thing I've ever done. I'm kind of embarrassed by it.
That's always fun. Let me make sure
that's
this thing is
good.
recorded. Let me make sure
I
since I
am
done
pretty
messed up.
embarrassed, and I definitely.
Oh, I didn't.
I don't typically regret things, but this is one thing that I regret, and it ended up getting me in trouble in the long run, and it's kind of made me kind of calm down now. But so I have to start with saying, first of all, I didn't start drinking until I got to college. I never drank or smoked or did anything until I got to college. Like, that was my first experience with drinking, was in college. And I didn't like it. Also, I didn't like going out, it shocks me now that I'm like in the nightlife, because I hate it. Like, that just wasn't my thing. Even in Miami, I didn't really go to many clubs. I didn't even go to South Beach. Like, I really, didn't do those types of things. So once I got out of school, I really didn't start going out and partying until I was like 23, 24. Like, after I came back from overseas or whatever, that's kind of when I started getting out. And so my mom always says, like, you started late. So, like, when I started, I went hard. And like, all my friends had already been going out. All my friends that went to A&T, they had already experienced all that. And so when I started experiencing it, and I actually started to like going out, I was like drinking more than I should have been. And I couldn't handle my liquor. I didn't know my limits or anything like that. And so one night, I was at one spot, and then we left and went to Cameo. And by the time I walked out of Cameo, I was definitely drunk, and I was driving. And I continued to drink while I was driving out of the bottle of Hennessy that we had. It was black Hennessy too.
Oh, gee.
So I remember turning the bottle up while I was driving on 277 passing downtown, and one of my homeboys was in the car with me, and he was drunk as well, and he had a registered gun with him.
Jeez.
And I allowed him to shoot out of my window while I was driving, drinking.
Okay, Corral.
Yeah, I was like young. I was like 23 or 24 at the time. And man, I woke up the next day and I really didn't remember too much of what happened, but I remember waking up at 1 o'clock and I had missed work. I had missed a basketball game I was supposed to go to. I just missed a lot. And my mom knew that, and at the time I had just gotten from overseas, so I was living with my mom until I got a place or whatever. And she came and woke me up, and she said my room just reeked of alcohol. I mean, it was coming through my hand. I could smell it. Like, I walked out the room by the time I came back. I mean, my room smelled like a cave. And I just felt like that was very dangerous. And eventually I got a DUI. So that really, like, and I'm glad I got it. You know, I'm really glad that I got the DUI that I got, because it really slowed me down and, like, made me realize, like, okay, you're doing too much. And I got through the DUI. It was quick. I mean, I had to do a little community service, had to pay a couple fees, had to go to, like, this little alcohol class, and it was embarrassing to myself. I didn't really care what other people thought, but I was embarrassed to myself. And so I definitely calmed down a lot after that. Like, I definitely drink a lot less. Like, there's nights I don't drink at all when I go out, and I'm just mindful of that, drinking and driving. But and actually the night that I got pulled over, it wasn't even for swerving. It was for I was going too fast, so I was merging onto the highway, and that was a night that I wasn't even that lit. But I refused to blow. That's why I went to jail. I didn't blow, and that's something I just refused to blow. And then he made me do the little walking test and all that, and I did fine. Even in court, we watched the video, and even, like, the sheriffs were laughing, because it was like, dang, she does not look drunk at all. But when you refuse to blow, it's automatic.
Right.
So, had I blown, I might have got off, because I had just started drinking, and I only had like 2 beers, and like a beer and 2 shots or something like that. It was like 2 to 3 drinks. But anyway, I got over it, and I got my license back now, and I'm glad I got it. I'm glad that it was an eye opener for me. So yeah, that's the wildest thing I've done though. Is that drinking and driving and letting him shoot.
That's pretty wild. Because I was like, where is this going?
He fired like 3 or 4 shots out my window, man, for real. And I just was like cool with it, And then that same night when I took him back to his car, I shot 2 shots in the air. That was my first time ever shooting a gun. And that was just being young and dumb. And luckily, luckily the police didn't come. But I had to take him back to his car at my mom's club. And the funny thing is, the next day, and I don't even think I told my mom this, but I fired the shots in her parking lot in the air. Ooh. And we were drunk.
Just wild.
Yes. And so the next day, she went over to the club. It's during the week at this point, and she called me and said, "Epiphany, I found a shell casing at the front step of the door." And I was like, I don't know where that came from. I was like, oh shoot, so the shell casing from the shots that I fired in the damn parking lot were still out there. And she's calling me. And I was like, I don't know, I got the phone.
Hey girl, I was like, no.
Yeah. But that's the wildest night, man, I ever had. And that's the wildest thing I've ever done. And I'll never do that again. Now I'm actually about to take a gun class so that I can open carry on July 6th. I take my class, but I don't even like guns. But these days I just feel like it's good to have one.
I was thinking about that too.
It's good to have one, yeah.
Especially us.
Yeah, women. And then even for LGBT women like myself, most people call studs or doms or whatever, but I don't really identify with any of that. I don't really label myself as that. I do identify, but I don't label myself as that. But guys these days are really starting to like make comments like, you want to dress like a nigga, I'm gonna treat you like a nigga, or I'll beat your ass like a nigga if you and they really like don't care that we're really women. They starting to get a little rough, and it's been stories of studs getting beat up, getting killed, getting all kinds of stuff. And then a lot of hate crimes and stuff. So, and then with being in a nightlife, Danny, when we leave events, we're leaving with money.
That's the scariest part for me. I'm freaking out.
Yeah, and just like even with me, running my mom's club now, I think a lot of people are wondering who's carrying the money, where is the money, whatever. And so, and my girlfriend actually, she's open carry. She actually used to work for CMPD. As well, so she has 2 guns, and so she's pretty much with me a lot of times.
I would have never thought that.
To make sure that she has one.
Yeah. The 2 guns in the CMPD.
Oh yeah. She used to work. She works for Wells Fargo now, but yeah. So she's with me a lot. She likes to be with me for those reasons because she carries. And so and we're women, like you said, so you just never know. And then in the nightlife, you know, people get belligerent, people, you know, get upset, you know, you never know who's waiting on you outside, all of that. So, yeah. But yeah, so wildest thing I ever did.
So when did you realize that you were attracted to women?
I actually in the 3rd grade got in trouble for rubbing a girl's leg under the table, and she told on me, and they sent me to the principal's office. So I grew up with, so like my mom, the order that she had kids in was a girl, which is the oldest is Erica, and all of our names start with E. So it's Erica, then Erie, then Aaron, then Ebro. So it's 3 boys, then it was me, and then it was my little sister 4 years later. So, and then my oldest sister was like 20 years older than me. So I grew up in the house mainly with my brothers for a majority of the time. So everything that I learned, everything that I seen, you know, from them, I wanted to be like them. I wanted to do so. Then when they went to play basketball, I wanted to play basketball. When they went out, I wanted to go with them, although I couldn't always go. But when they had their girlfriends over, I wanted to have somebody over, you know. But I honestly feel like I was born this way. Like I've never had a thing for guys like that. You know, I've tried to explore that, you know, when I was younger. And even my oldest sister, she passed away actually of breast cancer in 2014, my oldest sister Erica. But before she passed away, she was one of the main people that, you know, said, don't knock it till you try it or whatever, you know, just see whatever. And back then, you know, being gay wasn't as accepted. And it was scary to kind of come out the closet. And so I was in my head trying to force myself to see if like I could be with a guy, and it just wasn't. It's like certain things about guys that I don't like, and we could get into that, but I you know, to answer your question, I've always had an attraction to women. I mean, always. I don't remember when it started, and that's why I feel like it's just been me since I was born. You know, I've always been a tomboy. Always been a tomboy from like day one, you know, so I guess it's in my DNA. Yeah. So.
That's good.
Well, I guess that's good. For our next question, how did you come out?
So I was trying to hide it, and my basketball coach at the time, AAU basketball coach at the time, heard a rumor about me going to the bowling alley and kissing a girl in the bathroom. And I was in the bathroom with a couple girls that were out there with us, and we were in there playing around and flirting and stuff, but I never kissed either one of them. But my coach's daughters were there as well, and so I think they told her that that's what they think I was in there doing. And so she mentioned it to my mom. And so I was actually pulling up to get my hair done one day, and my mom called me and told me to come home like right then. So I missed the hair appointment, I had to cancel it right there, and I was like about to get out of my car and go in. And so when I got home, she was waiting at the door and was like, you know, confronting me about it and was very upset. And I think it just took her by storm, because I asked her, like, you didn't see, like, your mom, you know, you didn't. She was like, no, I just thought you played basketball and that you're a tomboy. You know, it never crossed her mind that I would be gay. And so I went to my room and just cried, you know, I was just so upset. And that's when she found out, and she even like texted me and was like, don't bring that shit around my house, da da da. And my mom is very loving, but I think, like I said, I think it hurt her at the moment. I think she was shocked. I think she didn't like the way that she heard it, although it wasn't true. And my dad was very comforting in that moment, but that's how she found out. And then from that point on, I never really told people. People just kind of assumed. But as I got older, I just flowed into, you know, I got a girlfriend for my first time in 11th grade. So that's really when I was like, okay, I don't care no more, man. I am who I am. So really, high school was when I started to really like be out about it.
How long did it take your mom to come around?
It took, I would say, like a year. Like there was a year of like getting through it, maybe a little bit longer. But my sisters kind of were very supportive and like telling her like, you can't knock her for that. You know, she is who she is. It doesn't change who she is. And now my mom loves it. You know, she loves all my friends that are gay. You know, I've had, you know, day parties at her club. She always comes. She has the greatest time at the day parties with the LGBT crowd. So she's all for it now. She's good with it. I actually have a couple other family members who are openly gay, that are immediate family members that are openly gay, and it's all good. So yeah, it didn't take too long, you know. And she apologized for the way that she handled it at first, you know, because she did come down hard on me, but yeah, it didn't take too long. But everything's all good now.
That's a blessing. Yeah. That's a real blessing, because a lot of people don't get that that same opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, their parents react completely
Yeah.
different or for longer periods of time.
Yeah, I have a couple friends who have fallen out with their parents, or just kind of distanced themselves, or their parents distanced themselves from their kids. And I mean, people go through it all the time, even today, even though it's 2019. It's
Right.
like, you know, all over the place. People still struggle with it, and so, you know, I hate seeing like people who commit suicide and all kinds of stuff because of that. And I just feel like I never wake up and think I'm gay. You know, in my head, it doesn't register with me that I'm gay. I feel normal. It's who I am. It's just like anybody else that wakes up that's heterosexual. You don't wake up and feel like I'm heterosexual. You don't think about it. It just is what it is. You are who you are. So, you know, it doesn't bother me. And to think that it will bother somebody else is just, it really, you know, it's disheartening, you know, and I try to support as much as I can with the LGBT community, especially with younger kids, you know, because that's who really is at risk, I feel like, more than anybody, because that's the stage where it's hard to go ahead and come out or express yourself. And you kind of feel like you're going to get in trouble. You feel like you're wrong. You feel like your parents going to be mad at you. So, you know, I try to support as much as possible with LGBT youth, you know, more than anything. So.
And I got a question. What do you not like about men?
I think men use women. Sometimes I feel like they use women for sex. I feel like they're not as loyal to women as women are to women. I think they're overly aggressive at times. I just don't think they're sincere. You know, I don't always think that they're sincere people. I just feel like they're selfish lovers. I think they're out to get what they want. And the times that I actually, I've experienced being with a man before. I mean, I've had sex with a guy before a couple times, and it always felt like it was all about him. And I just didn't like that. And I didn't feel like I was being raped or anything, but I felt like I was being used. I definitely felt like I was being used, and I never came. And I even told my sister that, like, you know, after I tried it, I was just like, she was like, it's a mental thing. And I was like, it just ain't for me, you know? And so, yeah, I just feel like guys are sleazy sometimes. And it pisses me off when guys don't take care of their kids too. It makes me like really lose respect for guys. I just don't have a lot of respect for guys. I don't trust guys. And I've always been uneasy with them. Like even to this day, guys try to talk to me. They don't give a damn about what I wear. They don't care about, they think I'm pretty and they feel like, you know, up under those clothes is a woman. And it is, you know, and I treat myself as a woman. I don't wear boxers. You know, I take care of myself like any woman would take care of herself, you know. So I am a woman under the clothes, but even when they approach me now, it's just like, ugh, I can't get with it. You know, the trust factor is the biggest thing. I just don't know how to trust God in any way, shape, or form. So, you know,
That's interesting.
It is,
it's really
especially the pleasing thing.
Well, yeah.
Like, and how that
I can see how that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just because you have so many brothers and then to not have the trust in men, so that's interesting. Because
I mean, I don't think my brothers have made it any better because.
But then you get to see how they are with women, so.
Yeah, and that's just what I was about to get to. My brothers aren't, you know, disrespectful to women that I've seen, but to an extent, I would say that it's some underlying disrespect. I feel like because prime example of using women, I have a brother that has 9 kids and 7 different mothers, or 6 or 7. But at one point, he had 6 kids and 6 baby mamas. And I'm just like, you have to not have a level of respect for these women because you're just having babies by them, and you can't physically, in his circumstances, can't physically take care of all of those kids. You can't be a father to all of those kids. You can't. You know, they're all in different places, you know, as far as where they live. I mean, they don't live far. Some of them live like, I think, Shelby and then Thomasville and then, you know, Charlotte. But you're not with any of their mothers, you know, and then you go have more. And to me, that's just careless, you know, and that's not fair because you are just having these children, and when the mothers fall short, the blame goes on them, and you're still scot-free, you know, and it's just, I don't agree with that. And I have another brother who has 8, but he actually has only three baby mamas, mothers, and he's able financially to take care of all his kids, you know, and so my 2 brothers are very different from one another. But that brother looks back on it and does realize the pain that has caused for some of the kids, you know. So, and he is still continuing to do his best to make up for that. But, you know, and then I have another brother that doesn't have any kids, but he and I don't have the greatest relationship. We're just very different. He's a loner, you know, and we were very competitive because he was great at basketball like I was, and you know, he's just different. You know, we don't have a disliking for each other. We're just different. And so I've never liked the control that he's tried to have over the girlfriends that he's had. You know, so I don't, you know, I love my brothers, but there are some things that I don't have respect for that they've done. And I feel like they haven't shown me, they haven't given me a reason to feel like men are good, you know. They haven't helped my perspective of men. My father has. My father's a great man and a great father. But other than that, I haven't had any good examples of men in my life that I really give kudos to. And I'm not perfect either, you know, so if they don't have respect for something I do, that's fine too, you know, to each his own. But yeah, I never could get with guys, man. Never.
So with the way that you said, I guess that you came out or kind of was forced out because it's almost like you were outed in a sense.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean, because I feel like nowadays people can kind of hold it over somebody, like, oh, I'll tell your mom or I'll tell your dad that you're doing X, Y, and Z to kind of like, you know, force them to do something that they don't want to do, or, you know, just to have that leverage over them. So
right, I was pissed. I was pissed. I felt betrayed. I felt like my coach didn't have to call my mom. She could have asked me first.
Yeah.
I was upset with her daughters because no one else could have told her that but her daughters. You know, and just me knowing them and how they were, I know they told her that. You know, and they were very observant people and very nosy, and they told their mom everything. You know, and I spent a lot of time with them because my coach, they were actually husband and wife, and the husband was my coach, and then the daughters played on the team as well. And I used to go spend a night at their house and everything. He was an ex-NBA player, so they lived out in Valentine. I was with them a lot. And at the time, my mom didn't have her club. And so we weren't always financially, you know, comfortable with the way we are now. So they supported me a lot in a lot of ways. They were the reason I went to Providence Day and all of that. So I just felt like, you know, they didn't have to do that. And I felt like it was fucked up. You know,
right.
And I never had the same relationship with the wife of my coach. She was the assistant coach. I never had the same relationship with her, and I never trusted her daughters the same way that I trusted them before. And so I felt like, you know, you took something away from me too, because I wanted to tell my mom that. I was gonna tell her when I got ready.
Right.
You know, that's not your place to tell my mom anything about that. If anything, come to me, ask me, or we can go tell my mom together or something. But for her to, you know, do that, she overstepped the boundary, and I honestly, I'm very forgiving, and I forgive her for that. But if there was one thing that I wouldn't ever forgive somebody for, it would be that, because she caused a lot of stress in my life at that time, and it kind of created a gap between me and my mom for a little bit, and I didn't like that. It didn't have to be that way. And so, whose mother wants to hear that shit?
Right.
Who wants
Especially
to hear
from
that shit
somebody
that way?
else.
Yeah, and it wasn't even true. You know, so that pissed me off even more. It's like, I could see if you were telling her something that really happened, but I never kissed either one of those girls. You know, I never even kissed the first girl I kissed. Well, first girl I kissed was in 7th grade, but after that, I really didn't have any relations. I didn't even have sex with a female until I was a freshman in college. That was my first time even going down on a female, so I really wasn't into all of that, you know. And even now, I don't have a hot sex drive. You know, I'm not big on a bunch of sex and a bunch of kissing and all of that. So it just, you know, it was unfortunate, and excuse me, it pissed me off. So I definitely didn't like that, and I don't encourage anybody to do that to someone, you know, because that's a very fragile that's fragile business. That's a fragile part of somebody, you know. For you to take that away from somebody and feel like it's your place to tell that business, that's like somebody going and telling people that you're pregnant and you may not be ready to tell people yet.
Right, because you gotta wait a certain.
Yeah, and you don't want to tell people and you have a miscarriage or whatever the case is or whatever, or you know, just like you're a young chick and you've accidentally gotten pregnant in high school and someone goes and tells your parents, you know, you don't do that. You know, so I was upset, and I wouldn't encourage anybody to tell that type of business. You know, that's not anyone's place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
For real.
imagine.
Yeah, for real. So, as y'all can see now, I'm upset about, you know.
I definitely feel it. I'm like,
definitely, I did not appreciate that at all.
Because how old were you then?
I was in like 9th or 10th grade.
Yeah.
So, like 15, 16.
And that's already a lot going on in your life anyway.
Yeah.
9th, 10th grade.
Body changes.
Your body, you got chemical changes.
Yeah.
You done got a real funk about yourself.
Right.
And school is another thing. Like,
Yeah.
you definitely don't, you know, home is supposed to be your sanctuary and where
Right.
things are great at, not
Right.
for somebody to call and mess it up. So I definitely can understand that.
Mhm. Yeah, man, that threw me for a loop. And after that, I didn't want to play on their team anymore. But my mom wouldn't let me quit. And
Did it affect the way you played?
you know, it's no, not really. But you know what's funny? I ended up fucking with their daughter.
That's what she told. She like, look.
After that, though. After that,
Mhm.
I ended up fucking with their daughter, and that was a secret. And so her mom found out because you remember AOL Instant Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Her mom had their password,
Oh, gee.
and so when we were messaging back and forth, her mom would be on her computer seeing our whole conversation.
Oh, wow. Just sat there and looked at it.
Yeah, and eventually, she would take her daughter's phone and read our messages, stuff like that. And then she found a little diary, I guess, in her daughter's room. She was very invasive in her daughter's life.
Clearly.
She was very invasive, very nosy in their lives. Like she sheltered the hell out of them. I remember they were all through high school. They sat in the back seat of the goddamn car. They didn't ride in the front seat.
Oh wow.
It was some weird shit. Yeah, it was kind of weird, man. I don't have no beef with them to this day, but I like I was saying, I ended up fucking with her daughter, and we were hiding that. You know, we would be in the locker room kissing and shit, and I'll be licking on her neck and all kinds of shit in the locker room after, or before practice, all types of shit. And so she found out. Then she created this whole big scene. She printed out the fucking AOL Instant Messenger. Yeah, and brought it to our game at Charlotte Latin, and we had this whole big ordeal in the hallway. She had called me and my mom, my sister.
Your sister
I
too?
can't remember my dad. Yeah, we all went back there. Her dad, the mom, the dad, the two daughters. Actually the one daughter. And when she confronted, she basically tried to throw it all up in the air in front of everybody. That's when she revealed all this. And at the time, I was kind of denying. I didn't deny it fully because I knew she had evidence because I knew her.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some things that I kind of tried to not admit to. But she pulled out the fucking messages like lie, you know. And I'm like, what are you doing all this for? Like
what is it gonna get
right
you?
after a basketball game that we just won. Like, what the fuck, you know? So it was crazy. But it was like she was blaming me. Like I coerced her daughter into this because, of course, when you're the masculine one, just like a guy that, you know, gets her, everyone wants to look at the guy as you coerced the daughter or you did this type of thing. And I'm like, she was with it, you know? So. It was what it was. But after that, I definitely didn't want to play on the team no more. My mom still wouldn't let me quit.
Damn.
And me and the daughter continued to have conversation. We stopped, messing around, but we continued to have conversation. But yeah, that was crazy. But they were good coaches. You know, like I said, my coach was in the NBA, and they were very wealthy, so they were able to provide so much that we needed in order to help us get where we needed to go. You know, because it takes money it took a lot of money. AAU takes money, and to get in good tournaments and get good exposure from college scouts, you got to be in the top tournaments, and you got to have money to get there. And they had that, and they treated me very well. But that whole thing was tough.
Did they change after?
Yeah, they changed, and our relationship kind of went downhill a little bit from there because I was very close to them. Like I said, I was with them all the time. I mean, I had my own room at their house damn near. So, I mean, everything she did for her daughter, she did for me. But when it came to that sexuality thing, it just was a breakdown. So from there, you know, there was shade. Yeah, there was definitely shade. And we didn't have the same relationship anymore. We definitely didn't. Because she wanted to control her daughter's lives so much, and just, it was almost like she was living vicariously through them or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of weird, but
because they got a life now. She probably was, you know, the NBA wife.
yeah.
And you know, I don't get to do much, and so these are my people that I have control over this part of my life.
And you know what comes along with being an NBA wife, and it happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she got cheated on. And so I think she kept her daughters close. And so I think that was part of what she was struggling with and why she was the way she was in some regard. He had a baby on her too.
Oof,
He had a baby on her. Went through a huge custody case, and it was all over the news. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it made us.
So of course you don't want to make no other noise in the media. So and so's daughter finds this, that, and the third. So yeah,
that was big for her. She didn't want nobody else to know that we had done
that. But not if you throwing up papers in the middle of the highway, making it rain with messages like,
yeah.
Because this is all I imagine.
Screenshots. Your friend had screenshots. She had to print it out.
You used up all that ink.
Yeah, it was
Ink
pages,
back in the day.
like 6 pages worth of messages. You know, because we would talk about all kinds of stuff. You know, when you're young, you flirting and talking about what you want to do to each other and all that. And so she had that shit printed out. And I'm just like, man, you know, she was pissed. I mean, she was going off on me and everything. I'm like, whoa, like, go talk to your husband who's cheating on your ass. Why are you so worried about me, you know?
Why is the business?
She needed something to worry about.
Right. Like,
she needed an escape from her own business.
Exactly.
I still got love for them though. You know, we speak every now and then, like, you know, keep in touch, but that was a tough time.
Did the daughter end up coming out, or she?
Nah, they actually, from what I know, continue to date men. You know, and I don't know what they're doing now. They actually moved out of Charlotte, and I haven't talked to them in a while. But as far as I know, they were heterosexual from there. So it was something that I think her daughter wanted to try, and I think I was just someone she was attracted to. And a lot of girls, which was funny about me, I've actually dealt with more straight women than gay women.
That's how my friend.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I hear that a lot.
Yeah, I've dealt with, 90% of the girls I've dealt with I've been there only, or they just talked to me and we dated or whatever, and then they went back to guys. Like, so, and I'm more attracted to straight women than gay women.
That's what my homegirl says.
Yeah.
Anytime she sees like my friends, and she'll be like, "So who that?" I'm like, "Don't nobody need your drama.
Yeah.
Like, don't nobody need them kind of problems." She be like, "No problem." You saw her and you was like, "Who that?" And I was like, "No, like I don't need these kind of problems." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, love."
I could have had my experiences a lot sooner.
Have y'all ever dealt with women before?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I dated only women for a while.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have the gray hairs to prove it. My ex is a female. I always say female. My ex is a girl.
You can say
like
female.
like feminine?
No. Well, no. Both of us are feminine. Yeah, both of us were femmes. But she was like. So my celebrity crush is Sanaa Lathan. So she was like my Sanaa Lathan. She played basketball. Her hair was always way more laid than mine. But she stayed in the closet. She was in the closet up until after we broke up.
Okay.
But it was bad.
Yeah, it can get bad with girls, man.
Because it gets so serious so fast.
Emotional.
That's what I hear. Women move a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
6 months in the lesbian world, it's like 2 years.
Yeah, because, again, the trust and the emotions that go into it. Guys are less emotional. Girls are very emotional.
Yeah.
You know, girls care a lot more than guys care. They show they care a lot more. And girls fall in love quicker, I feel like, than guys. So I heard one time somebody called, they said, y'all some Uhaul lesbians. Y'all get together one day, be moving in everything, going on trips, y'all just U-Haul.
That's what I thought about.
And me and my current girl, we did the same thing. I mean, and she, y'all, I would have to tell y'all the story before we leave. Y'all probably want to know the story of how me and my girl got together. It was very crazy of how we got together. We used to talk. Am I off topic? Or should I-
No, you're fine.
But we used to talk. We used to talk like some years ago, we used to talk back in 2013, and back then she was kind of down, like didn't financially wasn't where I was, and we were young. We were like I was like 24, and she was like 21 or something like that, 25, and she's 2 years younger than me.
I wanted to ask her how old she was.
She's 28, and everybody thinks she's like 19, and I'm like no.
Oh.
But yeah, she's 28. She just looks young. She has a 9-year-old son. I don't know if you knew that, but she has a 9-year-old son. But anyway, I really liked her. Her cousin put me on. Like, we were all out one night, and she was sitting in the car while everybody else was standing outside the car. We were all kind of lit or whatever. One of my friends was peeing in the grass. Everybody was laughing at that, and she was just sitting in the car by herself. And I was like, "Who is that? You know, why she sitting in the car?" She was like, "Oh, that's Juan. You know, I think we call her Juan. You know, she's quiet." So I said, "Tell her to come over here." One thing about it I liked when I first seen her was she had long hair, and I've always been a fan of real hair and long hair. I really like authenticity. I don't really like a lot of weave and, you know, and a lot of makeup. I mean, it's just not my thing. So she was all natural. So when she came over, we talked or whatever, and she was kind of scared of me a little bit. I feel like intimidated by me because she had self-esteem issues. She had a tougher childhood than I had or whatever. And eventually, I stopped talking to her because I went on a date with her and she brought a girl with her, and the girl was her ex-girlfriend's sister who she was still talking to. She told me it was her sister. So after I found out she lied about that, I was like, I'm done. I ain't got time for this.
What? But
Yeah.
that's not surprising because that's what happens to lesbians. That's what they do.
It's just, yeah.
It's what happens.
I would
So
rather go
crazy.
through it with girls than go through it with guys, though. But anyway, she like low-key, like, not stalked me, but stalked my social media for 3 straight years, like, still wanting a chance with me. While she was with the father of her child. She always felt like she was a lesbian, but ended up dating him. They were together for 10 years because they had their child when she was 18. They both went to West Charlotte High School, had a baby young or whatever, ended up staying together. And I think it was just a comfortability. Is that a word, comfortability? I don't know.
I feel like
She was comfortable with him or whatever, but for 3 years. And she even showed him pictures of me, like, you know, I like her. And they were that close that she could tell him that and he would whatever, you know. So one day I had seen her at Fridays. I was going in and they were coming out. And it was like everything was in slow motion. It was her, him, and their son. And I was walking in by myself to go meet up with a friend. And like we kind of looked at each other out the corner of our eyes and just kept moving. And it stuck with me for a while. I just kept envisioning that moment, but I let it go or whatever. And so then she DM'd me one day, came to my mom's club a couple times with her cousins or whatever. We just spoke and kept it moving, And then one night she came to my mom's club with her friend, and she had been proposed to. He had proposed to her, and she was about to get married. And she told her cousin, who I was cool with, to text me and tell me she wants to talk to me before she gets married. She was like, I have to talk to her. I have to get this off my chest before I get married. Like, I really feel a connection to this girl. I really feel like I owe her an apology. Like, it's just something I can't let go. So her cousin told me that, and I was like, all right, you know, I'll talk to her whenever, you know. Never got back to her, never hit her up, none of that. Just blew it off and kept it pushing. So she ended up coming to my mom's club one night with her friend and was saying, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to talk to her, you know. And I want a chance to have sex with her before I get married. Like, I just want to have sex with her one time before I get married. So her plan was to come in there, have me go home with her because her boyfriend was out of town. And have sex and be done with it. She said, that's really what I wanted to do with you. And if I could have had you and my baby daddy together, if I could have just dated both of y'all, I would have been cool with that. And so she came in and she looked real good that night. And she was standing at this little bar on the patio, and I walked up behind her and I had whispered in her ear and like kind of put my hand right here on her waist from behind. I was like, you look real good tonight. And she turned around and put her hand in my chest and said, I'm not here to play with you. And I was like, oh, damn. Like, because I hadn't talked to her, seen her in a while, you know, like, we didn't have no friendship or nothing. And she turned around and put her hand in my chest and was like, I'm not here to play with you. Either we gonna do this or we not. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Like, I'm confused. So, you know, she was like, I'm serious. You know, I came here to either take you out of here with me or I'm leaving. You know, so I'm like, I'm still confused at what she's talking about because I'm not realizing for 3 years she's been watching my social media. She could tell me everything that I did in the last 3 years because she paid that much attention to me. She was like, I low-key was in love with you from a distance, and I felt like I missed the opportunity to be with you. And by this time, she got her money right, she got a car, she worked with CMPD, like she really self-made, you know, because her mom had some things going on at the time. She was raised by a grandmother, and she really had to get out here and get it on her own. And I had a lot of support from my parents, you know, in basketball. So I felt like she felt like now that I'm where I am, you know, I really do like you. So that night, she left or whatever. She waited for me until the club was over. She waited for me outside with her friend. We talked, and then she gave me her new number. I went home, she went home, and it was actually Mother's Day the next day. But we talked on the phone from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. For 6 hours, we talked on the phone. And we just caught up. You know, she told me a lot. I told her a lot. We just caught up on everything. And the next day was the Future concert. And I was trying to meet up with her there, but she was with him. So we never got to see each other at the concert. But the next day, for the next straight week, from Saturday to Saturday, we saw each other every day. And we talked every day. And on that Saturday, and this is the good part, the bad part, that Saturday, she had told him that she was going to Shelby, where her cousin, which she did, but she told him she was staying in Shelby. So what she did was bought a room on their card that they had together in Shelby for her cousin. So it would look like she purchased a room for herself, like she's in Shelby. She had already turned her location off, wasn't sharing her location with him anymore or whatever. He had been asking, she stopped sleeping in the bed with him and everything, because she was like, I felt like I can't live two lives. Like I just felt like I can't sleep with him knowing that I'm over here really trying to fuck with you. So he was wondering, like, what's going on? You know, why are you acting different? Like, something's different. And she's like, nothing, you know. He's like, you hanging out now? Like, you don't ever really go out. Like, why are you going to Crystal so much? All this and that. So on that particular night, on this Saturday, so like I said, it's been a week. He had been trying to figure out what the hell was going on all week. So I guess Saturday comes, she lies, she comes back. We had Egyptian, which is a Jamaican artist, at Crystal's that night. So she wanted to come for Egyptian. She came, I took care of her and her friends and VIP, da-da-da. So that night, we left the club together. She came over to my apartment. And it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, because Crystal doesn't close. At that time, Crystal didn't close till 5:30. So I didn't even get home until 6:30. So 7 o'clock, we at my house. We just chilled. We up. We hadn't had sex, hadn't done any of that. Had barely even really kissed. Like, we were just up talking to each other, playing around, jumping around. We were a little tipsy from the club or whatever. So 9 o'clock comes, she's like, okay, I gotta go because I gotta go to work. I need to go home and get changed, go to work, da-da-da. So right before she's about to walk out the door, her phone rings, and it's him. It's not him. It's her son's phone calling her. She ignores it. So she's like, I'll call him back when I get in the car. Thinking it's her son, but in my head, I'm like, that son ain't up at 7 o'clock calling you. So I'm like, we walk out the door, the phone rings again. I said, you don't think that's him calling you from your son's phone? She's like, no, you know, he ain't worried about where I'm at. I said, does he know where you at? Does he have any way of knowing where you are? She said, no, because I turned off my location. I don't share my location with him anymore, da-da-da. I'm like, okay. So we walk out, we're just talking whatever. We get down the stairs. Her car is like, we have to walk across the street to get to her car. So as we're walking across the street, I said, do you think he would ever, like, pull up on you? And she was like, no, he has no way of knowing where I'm at. And, like, he ain't about that, da-da-da. I'm like, okay. As soon as she said that, a car comes zooming at us. And I had to grab her, like, watch out. You know, this car is going like 50 miles an hour in a parking lot. And then it slams on brake and it's like, and it stops. And he hops out the fucking car.
Oh, geez.
And we were coming out of my house, and she was dressed. I had on basketball shorts and t-shirt. She was still dressed from the club. So he gets out, like, who the fuck is you? Who the fuck is you? Asking me. And she, like, you know, chill, whatever. Not even really taking him serious. He was like, what the fuck going on? You know, what the fuck is you doing? Da-da-da. This where you been? So he walks towards me, like, and I freeze, like, in my tracks because I'm thinking he's about to beat me up. Mm-hmm. And I never told anybody this. She's the only person I peed on myself. I was that afraid that he was about to beat me up. I stood right there and peed on myself. And he walked up and he mushed me, and I fell into this car. And my family and my brothers, no one knows this. Because if I would have told them, it would have been a huge fucking problem. So I immediately run. Because I didn't have my phone. I didn't have nothing with me. I was just walking around going back in the house. And my brother, me and my stepbrother were roommates at the time. He has a shotgun. And so I didn't know if he had a gun or what. But I turned around right before I got to the building and looked. And he slammed her head up against the car. and I could see her hair fly like that because her hair is long. Her hair flew, and he just boom, her hair right on the fucking car on the side of her face, and was telling her to get in the car, get in the car. Like she was like, I'm not leaving with you. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't do nothing for her because at the time, like I said, we had just started talking for a week. I'm like in shock, like, oh fuck, what have we done type of thing? Like this nigga might kill her, like what the fuck, you know? And I knew they had been physical with each other previously from when we used to talk. They would rough each other up or whatever. He's never like beat her or punched her in the face or like nothing like that. But you know, guys can just grab you or whatever. So she was like, I'm not leaving with you, I'm not leaving with you, da da da. So as soon as I get in the house, I'm waking my brothers up. I'm thinking he may come to my door. I don't even know how he figured out where I live, come to find out. She was sharing her location with her son. So he looked at her son's phone, and I told her that was him calling her from his phone. And so he was able to figure out where we were. So he sat outside and waited because he saw her car out there. So he was like, I know she over here. Sat out there, and as soon as he seen us come out, that's when he pulled up on us. So I'm thinking he may come to the door. I don't know if they're still outside. I don't know if they're fighting or whatever. So my brother immediately just grabbed his gun, and we were just waiting, you know. And I didn't want to call her because, again, this is a fresh situation. I'm scared as hell. I don't know what to do. Should I call the police? Should I not? So eventually, a few minutes later, my phone rings and it's her. And I answer, and she was like, you know, apologize. I'm so sorry. If you don't want to deal with me no more, I understand. Like, I should, you know, I got you into this. Like, just so apologetic. She's frantic or whatever. She's like, I still got to go to work. She had called the police because she had told her family what had just happened. They called the police. The police had went over to their apartment where he had went back to their apartment. They arrested him for the time, or for that time being. Her and her brother had pulled up over there. They fought. It was a big thing. So, but she was like, I'm done. And the reason she said, Epiphany, I was already on my way out the door because he is a hustler and she was working for CMPD.
Right.
She's like, this is a conflict. I can't keep doing this. And if you're not trying to go in a different direction, I'm not going to marry you, and I can't do this. You know, for my son, for my safety, you know, I can't do this. So she was like, I was already halfway out the door anyway and pursuing you because I knew I did not want to marry him. And so that's what kind of brought her to me. And I didn't let her go. You know, I was just like, you know, I understand it's not your fault. You know, we did go about it the wrong way. I knew you was with him. I could have disagreed. And I agreed to continue to do this with you. So I'm not, you know, mad at you. It is what it is. But she was done with him 100% and never looked back, you know. So from there, and the reason we got on this topic is talking about Uhaul lesbians, how we move so fast. From there, she really just came and started staying with me. So a week into this relationship, we wasn't even together yet. I had her stay with me because I didn't want him putting his hands in. He was so upset. He was hurt. I mean, every time she would go home, it was an argument. We were on the phone one time. I was asking, are you okay? He was like, yeah, she okay, nigga. If you want to come over here and fucking get a nigga, you know. And that's, again, why you got to carry guns, because guys just look at you like, first of all, I took his girl. You know what I'm saying? And that he wanted to marry. I've ruined their family, basically, because it was them living together and all that. So, you know, it went from there. We stayed together, and she stayed with me until they you know, parted ways. He moved out. She kept her apartment for one more year, and then we moved into a house together. And so we live together now in a house. And so, you know, it just went, it was crazy. Yeah. And actually,
like a Eric Jerome did
right there. Look at the time, don't they? Nah.
I seen the person and I'm like,
yeah. But actually, it took a while, but actually, he and I are cool now. He came to my birthday party that I had at Tropics. We've hung out. He came to Crystal's, 2 weekends ago? And he actually was dating a girl, and there was a big drama with that. We had to pull up on her, and they almost fought because she was kind of disrespectful. And now she actually came to the club with him, and we spoke. So we're all cordial now. And he apologized. He even told her the same day, tell her that I apologize. That wasn't for, you know, I shouldn't put my hands on her. Please tell her don't call the police. And I never called the police. I never pressed charges. I never told my family. I just kind of let it ride. It bothered me for a while. Sometimes I felt like I wanted to blame her, but I knew I couldn't. And so now things are a lot better. But that's how we got together the second time.
No, that's a story to tell. I really feel like we're gonna have to get you back for a part 2 because we've got so many more questions. We got so many more questions.
I can talk, so I'm very long-winded.
We have so many more questions.
So yeah,
I'm pretty sure by time.
Yeah, I'll come back for a part 2. I mean, if y'all want to do it next week or whenever y'all want to do it, you know.
I like that. That's when people have a good schedule. They be like, I'll come right back.
Yeah, I'll come back. Actually, I work for CMS, so we're out for the summer right now. So, and that's what I like about working for CMS, because during the summer I can really grind on my parties and stuff and do other things that I want to do. So I'm out of school right now. So whatever day y'all want
and
to come back,
National
Pride Month.
Pride Month,
right.
yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
right on time.
That's
Yeah.
what I was texting you about. 'Cause we
Yeah.
got June, but I didn't put that. I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
but our Pride is in July. Black Pride is July. Actually, I have 2 events that weekend on the 19th and the 20th. That's Friday night, Saturday night. Friday night would be at Tropics. Saturday night would be a big party at Press Box with DJ Dimples, who does Sweet Heat in Miami. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that, but
Yeah,
her,
definitely heard of
Yanni
it.
B will be hosting from Atlanta, DJ Tootie from Atlanta. So it'll be like an all-girls thing. So yeah, Pride, and then B and Danny actually have Press Box this Saturday together.
Yeah, and this aired,
Yeah.
like, we'll put this out on Wednesday.
So
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So, yeah.
Cool, yeah. So everybody come out if you can. Noire Entertainment, out of love. Make sure y'all support. But yeah, I appreciate y'all having me, and we can definitely do a part 2 whenever
We
y'all get ready.
definitely
Yeah.
thank you for coming. Did you
No
tell them
problem.
your Instagram and stuff?
Oh yeah, follow me on Instagram at young.manifest, and also I'm on Facebook, Epiphany Woodson. I'm also on Snapchat. I'm not on that as much, but Instagram is big for me. So please follow me on Instagram at young.manifest. And also Crystal on the Plaza has a new Instagram page, and Noire Entertainment has an Instagram page as well, but it's Entertainment New Era. So yeah, y'all please follow. I'm trying to build my followers.
Tell a friend and tell a friend.
So yeah. So y'all definitely come out this Saturday to Press Box.
Yes.
Yep.
Danny?
My Instagram, the personal one is Out and About OUTEN 415, and then you can keep in contact with all of the events at Out in Love Singles.
You said
Sure
out
did.
and about?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't follow you on that. I didn't know you had another one called out and about. You
Because
have
she'll
like,
never use it.
Yeah.
she has like 50. Okay, well I ain't gonna follow it then.
Yeah, she'll
She
never
has
use
like
it.
50 pages,
Exactly.
50 groups, 50 of
And
everything.
my Instagram is Southern Belle Nita, and you guys can follow us at ashotofnoire on Instagram as well. We have a Facebook page. Please go like it, share it, and love on it. And also, don't forget to send us emails, scenarios, situations, advice letters, and all that great stuff at ashotofnoire@gmail.com. Okay, guys. So, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Oh shoot. So next time you see one, you're gonna be like, dang, what happened?
Cause she just looks
yeah,
so
innocent,
angelic.
and yeah, and so she is a tough cookie, man. She's a tough cookie. She is tough.
I didn't get a new one, but it's still not. I don't know what's going on.
So how'd y'all come about?